Muhammad Ali went through this when they essentially wanted him to call himself Cassius Clay. And my name is Muhammad Ali. And so that, and by the way, Ali also was driven out of boxing. And then the winds shifted direction. And suddenly, and I believe that also had an effect on the way the Supreme Court voted on Ali, and certainly the way the public saw him. And suddenly the winds changed, and he was perceived very differently, and he got his license back, and he went on to continue his career as the greatest of all time. Not that Colin Kaepernick is Muhammad Ali, but I do believe if one of them is to be back in the league, in the NFL, it will be Kaepernick before Manziel, because he's better than Johnny Manziel, because Colin Kaepernick
he's way better.
Has quarterbacked the team to the Super Bowl, because he's clearly and by far the best quarterback who doesn't have a job right now. And everyone's starved for a quarterback, if not as a starter, at least as a backup. And as of right now, you're right. The way things are right now, he's not going to get a job. But who says things will stay that way? Now, when we talk about diversity among ownership in the NFL, the fact of the matter is there are no African-American owners. There are 32 teams. And the biggest correlation between ownership in the NFL is an old white man. I mean, half the population is female. There's a large population in this country that is not white and old, and obviously they all have to be rich to own an NFL team. But they're old white men. And by the way, there's a huge overlap in terms of politics and the way you see the world and your identity in that way, your ethnic identity, particularly among old white men. And so, hold on one second, let me just finish this thought, Stephen A. And so, when you say it's that way now, it doesn't mean it necessarily will always be that way. Our national politics can embolden people's personal preferences. Your idea, Stephen A., and you've brought it up many times in the past, that it's the bottom line that he's affecting. It is unclear whether Kaepernick or the response to Kaepernick is affecting the bottom line more. And so I think the fact that he's not in the league is primarily a result of the personal preferences of the gatekeepers, the owners. And those personal preferences may not be so emboldened if our national politics change. It is an election year, after all.
Stephen A., I know you want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I certainly don't feel that way. And I get tired, and I'm not accusing you of doing this, Max, but I think it's important to address the point and the fact that while it doesn't warrant any comparisons to a Muhammad Ali, let's keep in mind that Muhammad Ali had his passport confiscated. They tried to imprison him for years. They did not allow him to work at all because obviously other nations didn't mind supporting Muhammad Ali, but he couldn't leave the country because they took his passport. There were a lot of things that came into the equation. In the case of Colin Kaepernick, you've made over $40 million in your career in the National Football League. The original target of your protest had nothing to do with the NFL. You were talking about our society, and you used the NFL as a platform because you were on the field in uniform when you elected to take a knee during the national anthem. His message was hijacked by the President of the United States. We all know that. We get that, and that part was definitely wrong. But nevertheless, the owners are dealing with the residual impact of the president successfully hijacking that message. And what they're saying is, right or wrong, this is the profound effect that we believe it has had on our product, so we're trying to move away from that. And Colin Kaepernick seems hell-bent on not letting them do it, which means that his target has changed from addressing society to now addressing the National Football League. And the National Football League, in my opinion, is going to push back, which is why he's not going to get back in.
Off that, Stephen A., I only have like a minute left. I want to ask you a quick question. By the way, what you guys are illustrating, and Max, I'm not saying you're doing this, it's the limitation of analogies, right? They can be helpful, but when you analogize things to Muhammad Ali or to slavery.
And quickly, Will, I just want to say Ali, I want to make very clear, I just mean in terms of the way public perception shifted about Ali as politics shifted.
And Max, look, analogies aren't useless, they're helpful, so that's not the accusation. And by the way, you're both just doing a cost-benefit analysis. The benefit of Kaepernick's higher, but the cost is higher as well. The answer I gather from both of you is neither is going to be in the NFL. Last, quick, small question, Stephen A. Do you think Cap even wants to be back in the NFL? You wear a shirt like that. Is he retaining any hope or expectation to be in the NFL?
I think that he loves the fact that he has been martyred, and he's more preoccupied with that than being an NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he doesn't want to be an NFL quarterback. I'm saying that that doesn't appear to be his priority more than being martyred for the position that he's taken. He's enjoying this.